Close your eyes for a moment and imagine waking up in a small shelter made of branches and animal hide. There are bodies all around you. Your mother, your siblings, your cousins, the old man who tells stories by the fire. You can hear every breath. You can smell every one of them. There is no door to close. There is no wall to hide behind. There is no moment, from the day you are born to the day you die, when you are truly alone. This was the world of your ancestors, and it shaped something deep inside you that still pulls at your chest today. Every time you long to close a door and just be by yourself. What you're about to understand is why a brain built for togetherness somehow learned to crave solitude. And by the end, you'll see why the privacy you guard so carefully today was once one of the most dangerous things a human could have. Let's go back. For most of human history, your survival depended entirely on the people around you. A single human alone in the wild was a dead human. You couldn't hunt large animals by yourself. You couldn't stay awake all night to watch for predators. You couldn't survive an injury, a fever, or a hard winter without others to bring you food and warmth. So early humans lived pressed together, small bands of maybe 20 to 50 people moving across the land, sleeping in clusters, eating from the same fire. There was almost no concept of a private space. Your tools were often shared. Your food was shared. Even your secrets were hard to keep because the group watched everything. Think about what that meant. Every choice you made was seen. Every mistake was witnessed. If you took more than your share, someone noticed. If you slacked off during the hunt, everyone knew. There was nowhere to disappear to, and that was not an accident. The group needed to see each other, to trust each other. And yet, even in that crowded world, humans found tiny pockets of being alone. A hunter tracking prey for hours, moving silently through the trees by himself. A woman gathering plants away from the noise of camp. The quiet of standing watch at night while the others slept. These were rare, fragile moments of solitude, carved out of a life that was almost entirely communal. Here's where it gets interesting, because your brain adapted to both of these realities at once. On one hand, your nervous system became deeply wired for connection. Being near your people meant safety, the warmth of bodies, the sound of familiar voices, the feeling of belonging to a group. All of that told your brain a simple message. You are protected. You can relax. This is why loneliness physically hurts. Research suggests that the same parts of your brain that register physical pain also light up when you feel socially rejected or isolated. To your ancient brain, being cut off from the group wasn't sadness. It was a death sentence. So it made isolation feel like an emergency. But on the other hand, your brain also learned that being watched is exhausting. When you are surrounded by others, a part of your mind never fully switches off. It's constantly monitoring. How am I being seen? Am I saying the right thing? Did that look mean something? This is the social radar your ancestors needed to stay accepted by the group, because being cast out meant losing everything. That radar kept them alive. But it also meant that even among people they loved, some quiet part of them was always working, always performing, always slightly on guard. And so the craving for privacy was born, not as a luxury, but as a release. Those rare moments alone were the only times the social radar could finally rest. The only times a human could stop performing and simply exist. Your brain learned to treasure them, the way you treasure deep sleep after a hard day. Now, here's the curiosity loop I opened at the start. I said that the privacy you got today was once one of the most dangerous things a human could have. Let me explain why. In an ancient band, wanting to be alone too often was a warning sign. Someone who pulled away from the group, who kept secrets, who disappeared for long stretches, was someone who might be plotting, or hiding food, or about to abandon the band. Privacy could look like betrayal. So your ancestors lived in a strange tension. They needed solitude to recover, but too much of it made them suspicious to others, and being suspicious could get you exiled. Your brain still carries both of those instincts, the pull toward solitude and the quiet guilt that sometimes comes with it. Watch how this plays out in your life today. You spend a whole day with people, maybe at work, maybe at a family gathering, maybe just out in a busy city. Everyone is kind. Nothing bad happens. And yet, by the end of the day, you feel drained, almost hollowed out. All you want is to be alone in a quiet room. That's not you being antisocial. That's your ancient social radar finally being allowed to power down. Or think about coming home and closing your front door. That small click of the lock gives you a feeling of relief that's almost physical. For a moment, no one can see you. No one is judging you. Your brain reads that closed door the way your ancestors read the safety of being out of sight, finally free from being watched. Then there's the strange anxiety of feeling exposed online. When you post something and imagine everyone seeing it, a quiet dread can creep in. Your brain is reacting as if the entire tribe is staring at you, ready to judge whether you belong, even though it's just pixels on a screen and most people barely notice. And notice the guilt. You cancel plans because you need a night to yourself, and a small voice whispers that you're being selfish, or that people will be hurt, or that you're somehow doing something wrong. Your brain is replaying that ancient fear, the worry that pulling away from the group could cost you your place in it, even though one quiet night alone changes nothing. There's even the discomfort of being in a crowd where no one knows you. You'd think anonymity would feel safe, but instead it can feel unsettling. Your nervous system is searching for familiar faces, for your people, and finding only strangers, surrounded by humans, yet belonging to none of them. So how do you live with this ancient brain in a modern world? Start by understanding that your need for privacy and your need for people are not enemies. They're two halves of the same survival system. You're not broken because you crave solitude 1 hour and connection the next. You're running the exact program that kept your ancestors alive. When you feel that craving to be alone, honor it without guilt. Think of it not as withdrawing from people, but as letting your social radar rest, so you can return to them as a fuller version of yourself. Solitude isn't the opposite of connection. It's what makes good connection possible. When the guilt comes, name it for what it is. That's an ancient voice worried about exile, not an accurate reading of your relationships. The people who truly care about you will still be there after your quiet night. You can reassure that old part of your brain gently, the way you'd reassure a frightened child. And try to give yourself real privacy, not just empty time. A space where you are genuinely unwatched, even by your phone. Your ancestors recovered in those rare moments unseen by anyone. You can give yourself the same gift, even if it's just a few minutes a day. Because here's the truth at the heart of all this. That deep hunger you feel to close the door, to switch off, to disappear for a little while, is not weakness, and it is not a sign that something's wrong with you. It's the echo of a human who spent a lifetime being seen, carrying the weight of the group, and learning to treasure those rare, sacred moments of being completely alone. You come from people who almost never had privacy, and maybe that's exactly why your soul still aches for it so deeply. The fire still burns somewhere inside you. The bodies still sleep close in the dark. And every time you long for a quiet room of your own, you're answering a call older than language itself. There are other ancient hungers like this one, quietly shaping the way you live, but those are stories for another night.